It's Cypress Roots back for another story. I felt like doing two. I might do three because the last one was kind of poop. Anyways, this will be a 3-tab short story, hopefully, so I don't take up too much of your time. Again, I'm disclaimer. I'm not doing this so that you do drugs. I'm not doing this for any reason but to scare you. And I say that because the way I go about doing LSD is to get information. And one of my favorite stories in Greek mythology was about Odin. His thing was he was scared of his own death. And he spent his entire life lying and cheating people because he found out one little thing. And that one little thing he used to manipulate reality to get a better hand on it. And the shitty part was he still died the exact way he was supposed to. Life has a way of taking you to exactly where you need to be. Anyways, to the story. Like I said, I rarely ever do 3 tabs. This was before I met my ex, so I was in Elkton of all fucking places. And Elkton is really slow, like there's nothing out there. But me and my friend, he's one of my really close friends. I used to trip with him all the time, but now he's getting ready to get married and all that good shit. Like, so I'm really happy for him, but now I kind of like trip on myself, which isn't so bad, but I do miss the old days. Anyways, we made a plan to trip because it had been a while since we hung out, and we had both just been going through some shit. I'm pretty sure him and his ex broke up, so he was going through it, and me and my ex just broke up, so I was going through it. So he came over to a house that I was living in at the time, and I was living with like 5 other people, but I had my own room. Everybody had their own room. And this was the day that no one was supposed to be there. It was supposed to be just me and him hanging out, doing our casual, usual thing. And the weird part is, I think one of the roommates, who I kind of bonded with really well, but because of what I was going through at the time, there was like a spacer between us. And it was because he was kind of more mature than I was, even though we were the same age. He just had, he lived in a house, he had his own trade to work for. He's a tattoo artist, so he had a lot to be cocky about. Me, being an Aquarius just like him, I kind of had a different set of things to be cocky about. I felt like I knew a lot more spiritually than he did, so at that point I felt like I at least had that on a pedestal, which ironically now I don't think that way about people, because everybody has their own lineage of spirit thing that they follow. Anyways, to the story. He comes over and we take our tabs, and then we realize that he's here because he comes upstairs and we're like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, I'm just bored hanging out. We thought you were supposed to leave. He's like, nah. He's like, well, what are you guys doing? We're tripping. He's like, I want to trip. I'm like, well, we have 1 tab left. We got 7, so, here's your 1. Bad idea. I always like to trip with people at the same time so that we're all on the same wavelength. I really do think that helps. And also taking the same amount. That's not really that big of a deal. But anyways, same time. And also knowing them pretty well. I don't like tripping with people I don't know too well because things change really quick like this. We had a plan to go to my room and just watch crazy ass videos and just talk and just chill out all night and maybe go for a valley ride because I smoked and he didn't, and we end up having like a huge like stone thrown on the road in front of a skateboard. It wasn't that bad, like we still laughed and shit like that, but my 3-tab problem is once I do it, I'm gone. That's why I trusted my one main friend to be there, because I knew I could count on him being there to kind of like protect my who I am, because like I said, belief is a big thing, and he believed in me a lot. He believed that I existed, so I could ask him anything, and he would always say like the right thing. Like I was a very problematic person, and he was very laid back. Hey man, it's whatever. Like either think about it or don't, and I kind of like go really well with that. Anyways, we're tripping, and this is why I don't like tripping with animals, because my cat, did some weird shit while I was tripping. We're coming up and we're watching YouTube on TV, which was awesome because we could pick through all kinds of trippy ass videos. And we watched this one where like it plays music and it plays through all this trippy ass imagery of how life is like falling apart and being taken over by machines, and how the nature of life is like dying, blah 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 blah. Well, after that was done playing to a song that we chose to play in the background on speakers, they like synced up. And like when the song was over, that video was over, and it was super weird because it went with the beat, it went with the flow, and my cat was fucking with me. Like at the end of it, Alan Watts said something, and it was at the same time that my cat walked from the like we were sitting in the living room. There's a hallway to the kitchen. I saw my cat walk across the hallway, like walk across the kitchen doorway, and then walk out the other side of my TV. Now, some people may be saying, "Oh man, you're tripping, so you probably just missed a chunk of time or something." No, dude, I didn't miss a chunk of time. My cat walked through something and came through something else. I don't know, maybe I was moving between different dimensions, but it fucked me up because when he sat down, his tail wrapped around him, and fucking Alan Watts said something all mysteriously educational, and it fucked me up. Now I'm gonna set my trip from 60 to 120, and I'm like, fuck, how do I tell them I'm losing my fucking mind? So I'm sitting there, and they go out to go smoke a cigarette, and I'm like, just sitting there, just thinking. And lately, I realized that my thoughts are wood. I don't control them. I control which ones I pick to continue to drive down the same road with. They're not always going to make sense. And how I say, like, you don't really have control over your thoughts. Like, they're gonna come no matter what. Just like you're going to be the kind of person who you are no matter what. I'm always gonna be a deep thinker. It's something I can't take away. I'm always going to have size 9.5 foot. Something I can't take away from myself. I'm always gonna have this cat until he dies. Something I can't take away. I just pet him while he was sleeping, so he's a little salty. His little paw. Anyways, and they come back in and they see me freaking out, but I'm not freaking out. I'm kind of like just trying to get a grip on reality. So they go downstairs, and I can see them like talking behind my back, but I know it's in a good way. It's not in a way where I'm like, they're fucking with me. I trust them that much that they're not gonna fuck with me. So I can hear Jake say, "I think we fucking lost him," and he goes downstairs with my other good friend, and I was like, all right, I guess it's time for me to come back. So I try to let go of everything that's happening, and I do. And they close theirs. I'm like, "Are you good, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Jesus Christ, leave me alone." And they're like, "All right, well, you want to come fucking smoke a cig with us and be normal?" I'm like, "Normal? Sure." So we go outside, and this is when the Phosphinus thing picked up. I never really had Phosphinus like that, where I see lights when it's really bright outside. Lately it's been picking up where I even see them in the dark, depending on what I'm thinking about. And that's why this belief thing is fucking me up. Like, even though I tried to ignore it, like, I don't need to believe in God. Well, you gotta believe in something. If you don't believe in anything, you're going to get nothing. So, I mean, even believing in yourself. But I don't want to do that too much, because that's like a dead-end road. It's like, of course you're the problem and the solution, but there is a higher power. And if you end up being the higher power and there's no one that believes in you because you only believed in yourself, sorry, I'm getting too much into it. Anyways, we get outside, and we're smoking a cigarette, and I'm looking up at the stars, and it's like, it's beautiful. There in Elkton, there are so many stars, and that's one of my favorite things. And I remember seeing the stars and seeing lights everywhere, and my fucking lower friend, not the good one, is ashing a cigarette underneath of me, and it's windy, so the cigarette dust is like coming into my view. So it's like I'm seeing lights and I'm seeing flutters of other cigarette shit, and I'm fucking like, dude, I'm fucking losing it right now. So I look down when I find like, dude, stop. And the stars follow me. each one that I was staring at came down with me in each spot, and I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up. Ever since then, I've been able to see the Phosphinus. I don't know how that trip ended. It's kind of blurry. He went to bed, and, my good friend went home. I was kind of like left in my room to play Destiny, but that was the kind of the pinnacle moment where the Phosphinus kind of like picked up. And like I said about belief, like I'm deterring from the story now. So if you're done listening, I understand. But this is where I kind of get into something I'm dealing with right now, which is um, all my life, certain signs have kind of followed me, certain patterns and religions and colors and points of views and how I do things have always followed. And it's always been horoscopes and the Celtic vibe, like Norse mythology and shit like that. And attention's everything. Like if you pay attention to something enough, eventually you'll start seeing it and encompass your entire reality. Like you see one white car, you end up seeing like 10 more white cars, just like the white car you have. But lately that's been bothering me. It's like something's trying to get my attention, but I don't know what. And I always believe that like, oh, there are ghosts, there is a reality outside of this, but I'm always afraid to believe in something too much that I might make the wrong decision. And lately, that's more of a past view, because presently I don't believe in there being a right or wrong, because right now someone's having a time of their life, someone's dying, someone's being murdered, someone's probably catching on fire in Australia, someone's probably